And let's remember something. The burden, it seems to me, is on the people now who want to defend the status quo, because the status quo is simply not working. I'm going to give you one example. There's not a single person in this audience would allow me to randomly assign their children to a Hartford public school. I want to repeat that, because I think this is important. There's not a single person in this audience would allow me to randomly assign their children to a Hartford public school. So the question I have for all of us is, whose children should go to schools that we would not allow our children to go to? And let us be candid in America. 56 years after Brown versus Board, the kids who go to those schools are the least fortunate kids, the kids who come from the most challenged environment, more often than not, children of color. And so shame on us that we tolerate for others who are less fortunate schools that we would not send our own children to. So when we have these discussions, and this is what animated Davis's movie, and if you haven't seen it, please go see it. It rips your heart out, and it ought to rip your heart out. Because those kids in that movie were kids who desperately wanted an education, contrary to popular belief. Their families were willing to do anything. And finally, there were some few viable options so that people waited for a lottery. And the question is, if those schools exist, and if KIPP or Daisha Toll and Achievement First, who's here tonight, if they can get parents lining up around the block, fighting to get in high-poverty neighborhoods, why would anybody oppose the expansion of charter schools? And yet the politics are such that they're opposed time and again. And I watch it with his movie. So the real question we should focus on is, we have to face the following question. When it comes to these children, either we can't educate them or we won't educate them. I don't believe for a second anybody thinks we can't educate them. Then the question is, if we're not educating them, why? And I think Davis's movie focuses on that, and all of us have got to stop bickering and start answering that, because the status quo is simply unacceptable.
And we would agree.